I've made natural history films before, but not with anything as small as a fly. And it is quite different working with flies, because even though there's so many of them, you're working on a very small stage. And also, they don't listen and they don't learn. It's not as though you can get them to repeat a certain behaviour, so it does present its challenges. There's not a natural chronology for the fly, and you certainly can't turn it into a kind of animal character. It's very hard to create a family of flies, and this is the mum and this is the dad. So we really had to look at what are the interesting aspects about flies in Australia. And also it's very much about the social history of flies, so what has been the human interaction with the fly. Therefore, all these characters who both love and hate the fly. We found those people and decided what through lines we'd follow. And considering that there's 30,000 species of fly in Australia, we obviously had to make choices about which flies we'd feature and which we wouldn't. These are our extras, hatched from these pupae here, and we're using them for all sorts of things. The fridge cools the fly down enough that it just won't try and fly away, and it gives us, 30 seconds or a minute to work with the fly before it flies away. We're trying to get flies to juggle. We're giving flies a tiny item and seeing if they'll hold it in their little hands and juggle.
I won't do it. Okay, rolling. Hey, yes!
I think flies lend themselves to comedy. And when people talk about flies, it's funny. It just is. Even if they're talking very seriously about flies, actually maybe especially if they're talking very seriously about flies.
No, I don't get many colds or anything. It might be because I stay away from the general public.
It can be quite disgusting. We've got some images of marauding maggots. And so if you can make people laugh while watching that stuff, it's much more palatable. Flies are surprisingly interesting. Once you start getting into really macro shots of them, you see them in a completely different light. You see these wings that just are iridescent and move more like a bird's. Flies are just pests, and that's what the vast majority of the population would say about flies. And over the course of this film, I hope what people come away with is that there's a lot more to it than that.